All right, welcome. Today we're diving into this really powerful little piece of flash fiction called The Last Vampire. Now, this story, in just a few hundred words, manages to paint this huge, sweeping picture of what it's like to be immortal and totally, completely alone. And it gives us a pretty wild solution to that eternal problem. So let's get into it and really explore what it means to be the last one standing.
The story just throws you right in the deep end with this one line. I mean, think about that. No humans had survived. Boom. Right there, you know everything. The war's over, the humans lost, and whoever our main character is, they are completely, utterly alone. It's just such a powerful, efficient way to set this incredibly bleak and empty stage.
Okay, Section 1, a world without humans. We're setting a desolate stage. So the big question is, right, how do you even build a world that's defined by what isn't there? Well, the author here does it with just a couple of perfectly chosen details that honestly tell you more than pages and pages of description ever could.
And the very first thing we experience in this world, it's dust. Just dust in the moonlight. It's everywhere. It's rising from a cushion. And it's such a simple thing, but it speaks volumes, right? It's all about decay, about time just silently ticking by for centuries. We're not just looking at a messy room here. This is basically a tomb for the entire human race.
And in this dusty tomb, what's the only piece of furniture? An ancient velvet-lined throne. I mean, come on. A throne is all about power, right? About being above it all. But here, covered in all that dust, it's the perfect metaphor for our guy Vestar. He's a king of nothing. A ruler with absolutely no one left to rule.
And then you get this. Microwaved blood. This is where the whole grand supernatural vampire thing just comes crashing down to a really pathetic reality, The thrill of the hunt, the chase, all of that is gone. And what's it been replaced with? The chore of nuking 2-year-old blood bags from some hospital basement. It's such a great detail. It just completely grounds his whole immortal existence in this boring, tasteless, absolutely mundane routine.
So all of this empty world, this grim routine, it all leads us to the real core of the story, the last vampire's malaise and immortal's boredom. We're getting inside Vestar's head now, and what's going on in there is this deep, deep sense of, what's the point? He's realized that being immortal without any purpose, it's not a gift. It's just a longer prison sentence.
So, what's a damp here? It's someone who's part vampire, part human, and the story makes sure to tell us that this is what Vestar is. Now, this isn't just some random piece of fantasy lore they threw in. No, this is absolutely crucial. See, it's his human side that makes him feel the loss of all humanity so deeply. It turns his loneliness from just, a fact of his existence into a real personal tragedy.
And this chart really just lays it all out, doesn't it? A vampire's life, then versus now. In the past, you had the thrill of live extraction. Now, that's a chore. Back then, fresh victims. Today, it's just stored blood. His life used to have purpose, and now, it's just emptiness. This contrast, it's not just backstory. It's the very thing, the engine, that's pushing him towards doing something drastic.
You gotta love this, though. Even in the middle of all this doom and gloom, Vestar still has this dark sense of humor. He complains that his name, Vestar, sounds like a bootleg router. He wishes he was called something simple, like Clint or Cliff. I mean, a bootleg router. It's such a funny, specific complaint. It's just a little moment, but it does so much. It stops him from being just another brooding vampire cliché and makes him feel a little more, human.
Which brings us to our next section, a solution from the lab, science against solitude. See, Vestar isn't the type to just sit on his dusty throne and suffer forever. No, he's smart. He's a being of intellect. And here's the beautiful irony of the whole story. This ancient, supernatural creature, faced with an endless future of microwaved blood, what does he turn to for a solution? He turns to science, the greatest tool of the very species that's now extinct.
So here's his plan. It's kind of brilliant, really. First, he makes use of an old, abandoned hospital lab. Then, he gets his hands on some spent fuel rods, radioactive material. With that, he actually develops a totally new type of DNA. And here's the kicker. Look at the target. He designs it specifically for blood-sucking entities. Think about that. He's not trying to bring back humans. He's creating what comes next, his own successor.
All right, Section 4, the 10th-century metamorphosis. This is a drastic transformation. And yeah, you heard that right, 10 centuries. This is not some quick fix. Vestar's solution is a 1,000-year plan. He is playing the longest of long games, and we're showing up right at the very end, just in time to see if it all pays off.
So what does he do? His final act, as himself, is so quiet and deliberate. He just takes out this small vial, he empties it, and then he does the one thing a vampire is never, ever supposed to do. He watches the sunrise. It's basically a symbolic suicide, right? It's him ending his old life to kick off this transformation and the start of an incredibly long.
And then the story just jumps. It makes this breathtaking leap forward in time. 1,000 years. Let that sink in. A full millennium passes. So year 1, he drinks the vial at sunrise. By year 500, he's still just sitting there. And then at year 1,000, the update is due. That's the moment. Now, after all that waiting, the change finally begins.
And what happens next? Wow. It is pure body horror. His flesh began to honeycomb as the metallic worms began to extrude from his body. I mean, the imagery there is just so visceral. His flesh doesn't just change, it honeycombs. And what comes out isn't beautiful butterfly wings, it's metallic worms. This is not a beautiful transformation. It's a grotesque, mechanical, horrifying deconstruction of who he was.
And if that wasn't enough, the story adds one last chilling detail: the sound. It says each segment made a sucking noise as it left his body. Ugh. That sound, it's this horrible echo of his past, isn't it? The blood-sucking entity he used to be. But now it's all twisted into the sound of this new thing being born. And with that, the transformation is complete. Which brings us to our final section: an evolution or an end? This is the lingering question. I mean, what are we supposed to make of that horrifying climax? The story really doesn't give you any easy answers. It just leaves you with this powerful, super ambiguous final image, and one really profound question. And here it is. After 1,000 years, has the last vampire engineered his own succession or his own extinction? I mean, think about it. Did he just create the next dominant species on the planet, born from his own body? Or was this whole thing just the most complicated, drawn-out, and frankly terrifying suicide in history? The story forces you to sit with that, to really think about what it means to be the last one left, and the incredible, maybe even monstrous lengths someone might go just to escape that fate.